So today, Francisco and I want to help you in order to resolve the biggest problem that maybe you have had as iOS developer. We usually have beautiful apps with a very beautiful design. We love to make the front end of the part. However, once that we go to the backend side is another thing. Maybe we don't know the language. Maybe we don't know the framework. Maybe we don't want to know. Come on, we know a lot about iOS, but we don't want to know about the other side. So during a few months, Francisco and I have been working in different projects with VAPOL. And because of that, because we saw that it's a very nice and very easy to learn framework in order to provide us the possibility of create backends, we think that this can be very useful for you. Just to say you, we are not from VAPOL, so that's the first point. We are not expert in VAPOL. However, we think that we can share a very nice things. At the end of this talk, we want that you have enough knowledge to create a CRUD API in order to provide to yourself the ability to create backends. In addition, maybe you will see another miracle that was one Spanish way of speaking louder and clear English. So if you feel that you are not understanding any point of you want that we repeat everything, please interrupt us, say that you are not getting something, and we will repeat again. Okay? But first things, let's go to introduce ourselves. So my name is David Matellano. Maybe a few of you know me. I am indie developer. I have 2 guide apps in the App Store right now. In addition, I am here at Farfetch. I am an engineer manager. And previously, I worked here as an iOS developer and work at Believe as an iOS developer too. And with me, he is the man of the code. So Francisco.
My name is Francisco Amado. I'm also an iOS developer here at Farfetch. And I'm a master at getting distracted with side projects and actually random projects. That's why VAPOL. So yeah, our main course for today, it's basically VAPOL API, right? We want and we will actually build a simple VAPOL API just to showcase you how easy it is to actually do it. What is VAPOL? Basically, VAPOL is a framework that you can use to build server-side apps or either APIs or web applications, and it was started by Logan Wright and Tanner Nelson, which are now actually working full-time on VAPOL. VAPOL got the sponsorship from Nodes, which basically allows them to actually work on VAPOL as a company. For our main workshop, we will basically just install and set up all the tool chain that we need to actually use it. Then we'll just write a nice hello world and just introduce some modules to our app, and then later on just a little bit of routing and some filtering and sorting on top of that. We will also add what we call a random sauce, which will be a hot sauce above our meal. And then we'll just actually deploy it because we really want to see it live during this workshop. At the end. So yeah, so it's a workshop, so we'll probably just start.
In order to make everything easier, we are going to put all the code that we are going to write inside of the link that you have seen before. So maybe you don't have enough time to type everything. You can go directly to the link, copy and paste. All of you, have you gone to the website that we have shown at the beginning? Are you so quiet? Did you understand us? So raise your hand. You haven't. You didn't go to the. Do you need the URL again or not? Okay. Cool.
If you actually need it,
ask for it.
Yeah. I'll just actually show you how it on CodeShare, right? So basically the vid will be writing and we will just copy and pasting, right? So first thing first, it will be the eval. So we actually need to just run this on the terminal. And why is that? This will just get us a script that VAPOL got us to just validate if the Xcode that we need is installed, and actually if we have Swift 4.1, because we will actually use 4.1 in the app. Then we'll just actually use Homebrew to install Vapor tab Vapor. This will be the toolchain for Vapor or the CLI. It may take some while because of the network, but normally it's super fast.
So,
super, not like gigabits super, but yeah.
So were you able to run the script and to run the brew command? You are so shy. Yes? Right. Someone didn't, someone could go through this step. All of you are in the same page right now?
Right.
Perfect. Go on.
So next we'll just actually do make dir and create our directory of awesome people, which will be actually our project, and we'll also cd into it. Yeah. Next, it will be the simplest thing of all to start a new project. It will be Vapor new. Now, if you don't have the toolchain, you can do this step, but if you do, obviously you can. Just Vapor new and the name of the project. What this does, it actually has a default template, which is for building APIs, but you can actually use the web template, but today we're just building an API, not a web application, right? You'll see nice Vapor logo here, and it's done, yeah? So let's just cd into the project. Okay. So next up, what we actually need to do is just fetch our dependencies and actually build it, right? So Vapor build, yeah?
Run it, because it's going to take time.
Let's run it. This will take some time, and David will go through the project actually and let you know which folder and file list you have.
So before to go into the directory, raise your hand. Have you achieved this point? Just a few people. So the rest of the people, are you trying to achieve it, or are you in the middle? Do you need help? You need help? What's the problem? Tell us.
Yeah, I'll go there, and you just actually go through the files. Yeah.
Perfect. Thank you very much, Francisco. So the idea here is, due to the building time is taking too long, we are going to show you what's the template. So in this case, let me show you a prepared Vapor project. And here you're going to see the tree, the structure tree that Vapor created for us. You are going to see a few files, and in addition, you're going to see a few folders. I want to look the first thing to the package.swift. Vapor use the Swift package manager in order to resolve all our dependencies. So in this case, you're going to see here 2 dependencies. Let me do it this bigger, because maybe you are not seeing anything. So our first dependency is to tell Vapor. We are going to use it, and it is self the dependency. The second one is the ORM that we are going to use. We need drivers. We need drivers to talk with database. Talk with databases is hard. We don't want to create tables. We don't want to insert the data. We don't want to do all this stuff. We want that someone or something do this for us. In this case, we are going to use this driver that is provided by Vapor. You can work with Vapor with different databases. Francisco is going to talk about this at the end of the talk. For this example, we're going to work directly with SQLite. Okay? In addition, I want to show you few folders that is going to be useful for you. First of all, folder controller. Once that you have a Vapor project that is going to be bigger and bigger and bigger, you can slice and you can modularize, or you can isolate everything with controllers. All of them are going to be in this folder. Today we are not going to achieve this step. And the second folder is model. Each time that you want to create a table, each time that you want to create a model is going to be inside of this folder. Finally, I want to talk about 3 files. First of all, the app.swift. Vapor is built on Swift. As each Swift project, the main file is going to be the first. What is going to do the main file? The main file is going to talk to this. It's going to call to this file in order to provide us the control and the configuration of the project. Here you can see more or less the code of this file. After that, we need to move to the configure file. Here is the soul of the application. Here we are going to, first of all, register the providers. We are going to register the routes that we are going to respond inside of our API. We are going to configure the database. We are going to create the object of the database. We are going to migrate all the tables to the database. And finally, it is going to prepare everything for work just in the controller and the model. We are not going to go too much deep in this file because everything is very easy to use, so it's built in, and that's okay. However, it's nice to know that it exists. And finally, this is the file where we are going to be working. This is the routing file. Here is where we are going to create all the resources that our API is going to use. In this case, we have an example here. The built-in solution that the template has an endpoint that is the hello one. So if you write the page URL /hello, Vapor is going to answer as hello world. So in this case, you are seeing here how Vapor handle a get solution. Don't worry, I'm going to go deeper after that, but this is the file where we are going to be working the most part of the talk. Okay. So at this moment, did I forget something? Yeah. Let's go. Let's see first of all if everything is finished. So let me check the terminal. And here we have the project build. In your machines, is the project built? Yeah? So I take no? Well, it will take a few minutes, okay? You can see it here, and it will take just a few minutes. So the following thing that I want to see, what I want to do is to run the template. For this, I'm going to do just Vapor run, isn't it?
Yeah.
Thank you very much.
Well, let's hope.
Let's hope. So we are running Vapor run, and we are going to run the default template. So if it doesn't fail, the log is going to appear, and this login is saying us we are running our application in localhost 8080. So if we go to Safari and we go to a window, we go to localhost 8080/hello because it was the root that by default is created inside of our project. And if we go here, we should have a beautiful hello world. Oh, it's working. No, there is no. Thank you very much. So please, can you check in your machine that is working too? I don't know how to say upload it in English. I can clap for you if you want. So is it working or not? Yeah.
So yeah, you have an API, and we can go home now.
So congratulations, that's true. You have created your first application with Swift, with Vapor in your machines, and that's cool. That's cool, but it's not enough. We want to do more. So in this case, I want to introduce you to Vapor with Xcode, because everything that I have shown you before is inside of Finder, is inside of Sublime. And come on, we are iOS developers. We want to work inside of Xcode. We want to debug inside of Xcode, and everything is better inside of Xcode. So for this, we are going to go to the console. Let's stop this process and let's write Vapor Xcode -y. This is going to generate an Xcode project for us, and finally, it's going to open the Xcode with the default template. So here, right now, you are seeing the same category tree, the same tree structure that you see before. Okay. So here I have the package. Can you see it well? Do you want the text bigger? It's okay. Yes, please. So enough, or do you want more? Okay. Cool. So as you have seen before, we have the package.swift. We have our controller folder. We have our model folder. And in addition, we have the app Swift, the boot, the configuration, and routes. And the cool thing, and I love this, is that we can do the same that we did on the terminal. We can select the target run. We can play it as usually do with our apps. And we are going to see that when it's going to take a time when it's compiling. you're going to see that in the console, we have the same logs that we have on the terminal. And of course, if you introduce endpoints, and that is the cool thing, the code will break there, it will stop, and you will see what is the service doing once that you are making a request. For me, sorry? Bigger? Okay. So from my point of view, to know what is doing the server was very helpful. I remember to work with Cake PHP and another framework like Symfony, and to debug it was a nightmare. In this case, it was very easy. So right now it has finished the run, and it is running on localhost 8080, and in the same way that we did before, if we go to here and we run, it's working on the path localhost/hello. So let's do this a little more harder, and in this case, instead to say hello to the world, let's say hello to the people that is here on the room. Okay. So first of all, let me remove this code that we are not going to use, because not going to use inside of on the controllers, and let's handle a new request. In this case, we want to handle a new GET request that is going to be in the following path: hello/people. And with this, we are going to say to our API that should respond to the base URL /hello/path. Very easy. And once that we have a request going inside of this path, we want to say hello people instead of hello world. So let's try. One thing, our request is going to return one string. Important thing. So let's stop it. Let's play it again. Move to Safari, and instead to go to hello, let's go to hello/people. And in this case, we are saying hello people. So right now, you know how to create different resources in your API. It's easy. Have you followed this path? Did you get all the steps, and could you do it in your laptop or not? Yes, not? Hello? Well, I see faces doing like this, so I suppose that everything is running well. Yeah? Sorry?
I can actually go there.
Yeah? Thank you very much. What's the traffic over there, more or less? Sorry? We didn't test in different. Sorry. Well, I am going during Francisco is solving the problems of the people. I want to continue because in this case we have say hello to the world, we have say hello to the people. However, we want something that is more parameterizable. We want to send something to the server side and to see the response inside of the server side. So for this case, I am going to handle another path. It's going to be another get, but in this case, I want to say hello to someone that wants to go inside of the website. So in this case, I'm going to wait for a parameter. Let me put everything correct, and I will show you. In addition, I want to share this with you. So what are we doing in this case? In this case, we are going to handle a new request, and we are going to be listening to the following path: hello/one string. Once that a request arrives to our service, we are going to return one string. And in this case, we want to analyze the request. We want to look at the parameters, and we want to take the first one. This will be and in case that it is a string, we are going to save it inside of this property. And finally, we are going to show it and to return it on our server side. So that means that if we stop it and we play it again, And instead to write hello people, let's say hello to Adelino, he's over there in the last part of on the top. If I write hello / Adelino, the server side in this case is going to answer us hello Adelino. So right now you have created one application on the server side. You have created different paths, and you can handle the parameters that you are sending inside of the URL. Did you get it, more or less? Okay. Francisco, do you want to continue with the models?
Yeah, also. So this is nice. We actually have our first request, right? But every time that we actually build an API or an app, we usually have a model layer, right? So we will actually build some models and actually, but first, do you see to-do controller? This is the template that actually Vapor has. Let's just delete this. Yes, move it to trash. Okay. Just so that we have a clean project for us. And let's go to do and actually just delete this. It's not our model. And actually, let's go to configure. If you try to run it now, you'll get an error, right? Like this. So let's actually comment out this line. Okay. Simple setup. Just delete, and comment. Yeah. Delete the controller, delete the model, and comment. This specific line, migrations. It should actually fail. So yeah. Now we're actually going to the models folder, and we'll just create a new Swift file. Yes. We will call it person because it's the singular of people. Why not?
Good point.
Yeah. And actually, for dealing with Vapor and everything, we'll just import Vapor and also import Fluent, which is the ORM, right? So first thing first, we prefer structs. So let's actually build a struct called person, and we should say it's a codable, just to have those nice things of codable. This struct will have an ID, right? This ID will be an int, optional int, actually, because we don't have to actually be ourselves that give it an int. The ORM will know how to increment this int. And we also give it a name. It should be a string. Oops. Yeah. And let's just give it a constructor with name, string. It will be self name, simple, equals name. Yeah. So anyone with problems on this part? If you actually need and you don't want to write the code, you have the code on code share. Okay? Yep. Great. So next up, Fluent has something called a model, and we'll need to actually extend our person to be a model. This will require, if Xcode works, it should give you an hint, and you can actually just fix it. It will give you everything that you need. We should say that this will be a SQLite database. Okay. Oh, it's not Fluent. It's Fluent SQLite. Sorry. In the imports. So this will be a SQLite database, and our ID should be of type int, right? It's the same type as the ID on person. Let's make this beautiful. Okay. So next, we will actually use something. We'll actually define a public var, a static var, sorry. Yeah, with ID key. I remember. And it will be of type ID key. Right? This is actually really simple to implement. Just now the tricky part, we will actually use key paths to actually say that the ID should be the person.id, right?
Basically,
Yeah.
So basically, in this port, you are configuring the table of the database. Right now, you are saying to the database what is going to be the primary key of the database, and in addition, you are going to say the type of this primary key. Sorry, Francisco.
Yeah, great. Next up, the model is from Fluent, so we actually need to extend person again to SQLite model. And since SQLite model also conforms to model, you don't have to actually give it anything. And we'll also actually, again, extend person to just be a content. This will help us actually encoding and decoding our models from the responses and the requests. Okay. Right.
Fine. The migration part. Do you want?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I know we actually need to extend again. I know it's a lot, but person to migration so that it actually gets our models and creates a table in the database once it actually runs the project. Great. So since this is a migration, you actually commented out the code in configure, right? Let's move there. Let's uncomment and actually say it will be a migration of the model that we actually created now, which is person, right? This should compile, and if it doesn't, call us out.
So achieving this point, questions that you have regarding models or questions that you have regarding, do you have any kind of question? Did you understand what we have done here? So first of all, we play with the roots in order to create new resources in our API. Second, we create a model. And in addition, we configure it in order to provide information to the table that we are going to use in our database. All of you are in the same page that we are right now? Question? What? Yeah, the point is we are associating the object to the primary key that you are having in the database. So this is the link that you are doing. Can you repeat louder, please? I don't know.
Actually, I think it is because we haven't done.
Once that you're going to go to, in this case, as civilian connections, the join table is going to be created by itself. So if you have a kind of daughter or son relationship or parent relationship, you need to introduce the key of the other. However, with the civilian, in this case, for instance, if you want to have two keys and you want a civilian relationship, everything is managed via Fluent. But I am not completely sure about this. We can look for it if you want. Okay. So the following point is to create objects in our database. That's the good part. We want to have a CRUD API that provides us services and to create new people and to retrieve the people of our database. So for this, we are going to create new resources, or we are going to handle new paths in our root file. So if we move again to the root file, we have the previous code that we have done, and in this case, we are going to do a post. So again, I am going to make this trigger because I want to explain you carefully all this code. So what are we doing here? In this case, we are doing a post. So let me put it in the middle. First of all, we are creating a more complex path. In this case, we want to call to API/v1/person. So why v1? Because we want that our API is going to be versionable. After that, we have person, that is going to be the resource that we are going to call. And the first thing, we are going to handle a post request instead of a GET request. Difference that you have for the previous GET. In this case, we are not returning a string. We are returning a future of person. A future is something that I want to just to introduce you with VAPOL. Future of person, it's a person in the future. It's something similar that maybe you have worked with promises before. This is like a promise. What's the important thing regarding this? The important thing is that the VAPOL 3, that is the last framework, works asynchronously. Previous VAPOL 2 and previous VAPOL 1 didn't work asynchronously and didn't have this concept of futures. So I believe that to have this new concept in VAPOL 3 provide us the ability at least to have different calls be done at the same time. I think that with this, they improve a lot the framework. So after that, we are going to send a request, and in the request, we need a JSON file, or sorry, we need a JSON structure that is going to be inside of the request, and we want to decode this JSON and to introducing it inside of the person. For this, we are going to decode the content, and because of Francisco has declared the extensions on the model, we are able to do this. After that, we need to map this inside into an object, because this will return a future. We need to put the future into an object. Because of this, we're going to flat map this. And finally, we are going to save this inside of our database. This save command, or this save method, is going to return us a future of person. And because of this, each time that we are going to do a post, the API is going to respond as the object that we have created. The first time that I saw this, it was a mesh. First of all, I don't like too much the callbacks. You have to go deeper. You need to understand what is going to call. For me, the easier approximation was, I am doing one request, I am retrieving one person. Why am I retrieving one person? Because each time that I save something in the database or the VAPOL is going to return us the same object that we have created. In the middle, we need to decode. We need to decode the JSON that we are sending in the request. And after that, we need to map it. We need to get it from the future in order to put this element into the code. So let me build this. In addition, we have here Postman. And this is the one of the most tensions part of the demo. Because if we call to hello, this is easy. So we can say hello Nuno, and it's going to answer hello Nuno. However, in this case, we need to create a person. So we need to configure the request that we are doing in Postman. We are using the verb post. We are going to call to the path that we have created and that we have saved it into the code. So we are calling to API/v1/person. Because of this, we are calling this. We need to put the header, application JSON. Please do not forget this because we are sending JSON body. And finally, we need to put a name into the body. In this case, let's introduce Francisco. So let's write, send the request, and finally, we have here the response. The server is providing us the future of this person that we have created. In this case, it has an ID because this is the ID that it has in the database. If I create a second person, let's create Adelino. You are going to be the following one. So if we create another person, Adelino has the second, it has the ID number 2. So that means that we are introducing data and more data into the API. I can continue introducing people. So I can go with Ana, I can go with Pedro. However, right now I have a problem. I don't have a get. I don't have an endpoint resource in my API that provides me all the people that I created in my database. So let's do it. And I promise you that it's going to be just one line of code. So again, we came back to our root file. This is going to be the file that you're going to love. And in this case, we want to handle a new request. We want to handle, in this case, a get. And the get is going to be simple. Tell me. Sorry? Problem here. Tell us the problem. Come on. Meanwhile, let me write the request that we are going to do. Cool. So here. Tell us in log here. Go on. In the post.
Possible to methods they create and query person online person. In that case, you have add methods like person.
Yeah.
Person.
Yeah, because Fluent is providing to this model the ability of saving the data.
It's possible by a person only implemented then have another line, like person previously validate inherits the name or say create anything.
But I don't know. I just worked with this. I just worked with moments that we Fluent. I don't believe that it's possible. Why? Because in this case we are using the Fluent and the driver. If you go out driver, maybe you need to do everything by yourself. In this case, that means that you need to make a proper insert of the database. The good point here is that everything related to something that has the Fluent extension, each Fluent it doesn't create of the database. All the methods that you're going to do here, and in addition, this method you're doing here,
It's like the driver.
Yeah, that's the point. I understand you because you can feel that this is constrained. You don't have to. The point here is, yeah. And in addition, we need to think that we are inside constraint. We don't have this ability to go out and create. In this case, we can create with the functionality, but not with the calls to the database. Okay, so I was telling you, we want to retrieve all the people that we have created inside of our database. And because of that, I have created a new path that we want to handle. In this case, it's easier than the post. We want to listen to API/v1/people, and we are going to wait here for a GET request. And in this case, we are not going to return a person. We want to return an array of persons. So because of this, the return is different. The query is very simple, and this is because I love VAPOL. I don't have to create an SQL instruction. I don't need to ask for a lot of things. Let's do it via person.query.all. Why can I do this? I can do this because I am using an extension. Again, we are using an extension of Fluent inside of the model, and because of this, we can use all the methods that Fluent provides us. So if we save this, we stop, we play, and we go to Postman, and we wait for it. We are going to call to localhost 8080/API/v1/people, and we retrieve an empty array. Can someone ask me why?
Why?
Why? Good, very well. And what happened with an SQLite instance? It disappears. Yeah. So that's the point. This time we are not persisting the data that we are creating because we are working with SQLite. Each time that you reboot the application, you're going to see that the data is going to vanish. Be careful about this point. It's not a problem because in this case, I am going to come back to insert people. So let's call to Francisco. And let's insert here Adelino. Let's put here to myself. Come on, I'm here too. And now I have data in the database. So let's ask to the application for all the people. And in this case, we are retrieving all the info that is inside of this table. And just with one line of code. Easy, isn't it? Did you achieve this point? So Francisco, it's your time to make this bigger.
Yeah, this is nice, right? But we also need to, as I said, we also want to actually add some logic on our requests. So the first thing is actually, we will use this line, but we will refactor the whole method, right? What do we want? We actually want, if you see on CodeShare, we will actually switch. Did I import? Yeah. First thing, import Fluent. It will have some nice sugar for you.
Yeah.
Methods, actually. So let's actually switch on our requests dot query. And then we'll say that this will actually get us a string type, right? And then let's just actually give it the identifier that we are expecting. So we'll call it sort because we actually want to sort the elements that we are returning. So yeah, then let's just add some cases. One, it will be ascending, right? But short. The other will be case descending. And we also need a default. And again, the default will be just all, like we actually used it before. Yeah. So the nice thing here is actually that we don't actually get our results from the database. We can actually build a query and apply that to the request that we will do on the database. So let's just, this will be a query. Yeah. So on rec
Request.
right, and it will be sorted, right? And this again will work with keypads because VAPOL actually gives us that. It's nice to actually start and use those. It will say, we will say it's a person dot name. We can actually just say name, but why not person? And then we will actually say it will be ascending, right?
It's just ascending.
Oh, yeah. Not string, it's an enum, okay? And we also want all the elements that actually we get from this query, right? And then again, we will copy paste this into the later, and then just call it descending. Does it compile? No. Am I forgetting something?
Maybe.
No, the default it's here.
The import is done.
Yeah.
Is it returning closer? All result all is in use.
Oh, sorry. Yeah, they're returning all of them.
Oh.
Coding in production isn't that easy. So yeah, does it build? Yes. Does it run? Let's see, right? So again, like David said, we lose all our data. So people should return an empty object. And let's start actually adding people to there. So we call it David. Yes. Again, Francisco. And why not Adelino? So great. We have all our people. Yes, we do have them. And then let's start actually just passing the query parameter. Like we said, it's sort, right? This is nicer,
Cool.
right?
Thank you very much for this.
So let's call it sort equals ascending, or if actually just are expecting ASC. You should see that the list of people should come ordered or sorted. So this sounds nice, and you actually have a working API, right? So we actually told you that we will apply some sauce on top of it. This next part we'll just inject the code. We'll just use a snippet because it's not too much, but it's like 20 lines of code, which is a lot for us. So what do we actually want now? The API is working, but we want to do something funny, because why not? We will copy paste this method. No, we'll just use, like I said, something easy. So first thing, you'll see that, oh, I forgot something. Let's actually write the get and say it will be an API / v1 like the others / people. And now it's / random because we want a random element actually to return for us. And the difference here is that we don't actually return a future of array person. We will return, request future of person, right? Simple. We did this previously. So now it will actually use the random snippet. So what does this do? Like normal iOS or applications engineers, the simplest thing to do is actually query the database, get all elements, and based on the the total amount of elements, just calculate a random person and just return the random person, right? And then we got into a block because we were expecting to have the order by random of SQL, but we don't actually have that. And we can actually do something around that. So again, we will query our person's database, get all elements like we wanted, and just flat map it into each one into a person type, right? So we'll have the people there. This people is obviously an array of person. Then we will start actually creating a random based on the total amount of people. But again, if you actually just do this, this compiles, this actually runs, and if you test it, it's okay. But if you deploy it to a Linux server, you actually don't have arc4random, if I'm right. So it will actually error on the deploy. So we actually need to be careful because we may not be building this for a Darwin machine, right? So next, we just, if it's on Linux, we actually use random. If it's not, we use arc4random. And then we just query again and actually build a query by filtering from the person ID. You can see here that we also use the keypads for it. And then we actually get the first element. If this element it's a person, and I actually have one, we actually return it. If it's not, we actually throw an error, and the system will actually deal for us with this and doesn't crash the server or anything. Yeah, this is great. This actually compiles. Great. This actually runs, which is awesome. Resync. And then again, let's go. We know that we don't have people here, right? So let's start adding more. Does anyone want to be in here? Pedro? Thanks. So great, we have 4 people, right? Yeah, great. Let's actually try and see if we get a random element. This is nice. We get a random person every time we query the database. Yeah?
Cool. Thank you very much. So right now, in half an hour, maybe a little more, if you have all of our steps, or at least if you have seen to the screen, you have created a backend with an API that is working with 2 resources. First of all, a post, second, a get, and finally we have an extra point that is a random option that we have created. So you right now have enough tools to create a backend in Swift. And that's the good point. We didn't know a new language yet. We didn't go too deeper inside of the framework. We just can explain you in half an hour. So imagine what can you do in 3 hours, 1 day, or 1 week. I can tell you that I didn't have these tools with another framework. So because of this, we think that it's a nice tool that you can have in your pocket in order to create prototypes or maybe to put this in production. So because of this, we want to move to the last part of the demo,
which is production.
Which is production, and it's the one that is harder because previously we had problems with Git, not with the VAPOL. And to explain you the deployment, we want to show you VAPOL Cloud. VAPOL Cloud is a tool that the people of VAPOL is providing to developers, and it's like kind of cloud where you kind of load all your developments with just 2 lines of code. So with 2 lines of code, no scripts, no configuration, nothing more. 2 lines of commands in the terminal. Sorry, no code. You can upload all the backend services that you are going to do in the applications. So this is the landing page of this product. You can see here that they have hosting, they have database, because you can put a website here too if you want. It's scalable, it's monitoring, everything like all the platforms that you have, everything is very cool. But the coolest thing for me is that we have a free version by €0 or $0 by month. If we are creating something small, you can try it for free, and this is awesome. We can put the backend outside, and it's very simple. So for this, let's first of all, we need to put all our code into a Git repository, okay? Because VAPOL Cloud is going to take the code from a Git repository. So let's do it. Francisco and I has created a project for this. It's an empty one, so In this case, I am going to go to the folder. So I am in the folder. I'm very bad with it. So git init. It is awesome because this is the most nervous part of the conference and it's not related with VAPOL. So first of all, git init, git add everything, git commit, initial commit. Now we need to put the origin. Cool. And let's pray for this. Let's pray for this is working. I'm nervous right now. Too much. Oh, okay. It's working. Sorry about that because previously it wasn't working perfectly. So right now we have all the code that we have created inside of this repo. So this is nothing different that you have created, that we have everything inside of the repo. So let's see if it is true that with two commands in the console, we can deploy this to a live environment. First of all, we need to say Vapor. In this case, we need to say cloud. And let's log in. We need to log in our cloud account. So for this, we need to put the email. And after that, we need to put the password. I failed. So let's put it again. Plus Vapor at. Okay.
Nice.
So can it be this bigger? Okay, perfect. So right now we have login into our console. If you want a login, this is very easy. You go to Vapor Cloud Dashboard and you create a user. Dashboard.vapor.cloud. You will have a user, and this is the same user that you want to introduce here. The next thing that you have to do is Vapor Cloud deploy. At this is going to start the wizard. I lied you a little, okay? I said that these just two commands. Those are the two commands. However, we need to go into the wizard in order to do everything correct. So I am going to do this bigger because there are a few steps. So first of all, do you want to create an application now? Of course I want. After, what is going to be the project? We previously have created a demo for this in order to be sure that it's working. You can have different projects, you can have different companies, so you have a different ways to order all your projects inside of the Vapor Cloud. In this case, we are going to use the same project, that is Awesome People. What is the name for this application? This application is called Awesome People, as we are. Come on, Awesome People. People.
No.
No. Come on. So what is the Slack URL? This is going to be the URL that we are going to use to call our service. Instead to use localhost, we are going to use this Slack URL. So we are going to use awesome trazo people. So, and this information is correct. Of course that is correct. Oh, we have created previously this application. Sorry, I need to repeat everything again. So would you create an application now? Yes. What is the project? Awesome People. What is the name of the application? App Awesome People Workshop. Cool. What is the slug application? Awesome People plus
Workshop.
Yeah. Cool. It is going to ask us if we want a hosting. Answer yes, because if not, we don't have hosting, it's going to fail. Why? Because we want to put this inside in anywhere. And in this case, the hosting is going to be the place. So we are going to say yes. And finally, it is going to ask for a Git repository. In this case, because we have the Git configured in our folder, it's everything automatically. If you want to change the Git repository, it will be the time. So I am going to say that take all the code from this repository and all this info is correct. Yes. So finally, it's going to say that if we want to create an environment, you can have you can have dev environment, testing environment, release environment, production environment, staging environment. So you can have all the environments that you want. So in this case, I want to create an environment. Okay. The name for this environment is production.
Yeah.
Deploying directly to there. And we should what Git branch we should use? Master. In this case, 0 errors. We want to the cheapest way. And if this info is correct, yes. So it's creating the environment. And this is the moment of the database. In this case, because we are using SQLite, we are not going to create a database. However, if you want to use another database, this will be the point that you are going to configure your database. So for this case, we are not going to use a database, and we are going to do a clean installation. If you are deploying a lot of times, you can do incremental update. They are going to be faster, but in this case, it's a clean one. So is this correct? It's okay. And right now, we just have to wait that everything is working. So we can say that right now we are deploying everything to production. All the code that we have done during this half an hour is going to production. Meantime, this is happening. Francisco is going to show you a few more things.
Great. So we actually have everything, right? So we've gone through actually installing Vapor, doing the hello world, building our model, a little bit of routing, right? The logic that we actually added up to the routing, and then deployment is going now. So what can we also do with this? We can also support multiple, better yet, different databases than SQLite, because we actually, if you're working in production, you actually need to persist your data, right? The big difference here is MySQL and Postgres. Basically, you almost only have to change the conforms that you use, the protocols, and with little to almost no code, you can actually use the same models that we use today and actually support those kinds of databases. With Mongo, it's a little bit different. The Mongo driver, it's basically built by the community, so you also need some kind of adaptation in your code. It's simple, you have Codable, so it's almost no code. You can also build web applications, not only APIs, right? I actually showed you that once doing Vapor New, you use the API template. If you use the web, it will come with Lif, and it's basically a template language that you can actually use within HTML with markups. Kind of like handlebars or mustache if you actually use it, or stencil, because stencil is known on iOS. This is actually really nice to use. It makes the UI more modular, and it also has support on Vapor. So you can actually build Lift nodes with Swift code. So yeah, for all of our Vapor projects, and even for this project specifically, we use some resources. The first, it will be the project on GitHub, this one, fully working. And the next, we actually use a lot the server-side Swift with Vapor book from Ray Wenderlich. And obviously the Vapor Today I Learned app, which is being iterated over the time, and you can actually see the code working. And you have examples there that can be really useful for you. Then Martin Lasek also produces a lot of tutorials for Vapor, and a lot of great tutorials and updated. And you can also join the Vapor Discord. You can ask questions there, or even be updated with the latest releases and everything, and even speak with the creators of Vapor, which is actually nice to go to the source. Yeah, so I think that's it.
It has finished or not yet?
Let's see. So we are building the container, almost actually deploying this. You can actually see that the Vapor building Vapor release actually worked. If you only use the random for Darwin, it should crash there because it's not available on Linux, right? Almost. We have some time for questions if you want.
So
actually,
we have a slide for it.
Yeah, we have a slide for everything. Yeah. Nice. Q&A.
Questions?
No questions.
They are asleep.
I actually have some to you.
Go on.
Because we work on different projects.
No, we have one. We have one.
Oh, nice. Sorry. Yeah.
Directly for the web query.
Yeah.
Right filter
Yeah. So I can actually.
Francisco, do you want to see this offline?
Sorry,
It's great.
it's a workshop, so.
Do you have more questions regarding vape or maybe go on? Select, sorry? Yeah.
Yeah, you are, because actually Vapor provides a database service for you, but it starts, I think, €6 or €8 per month. And just for this example, you can actually say no because we will use the database of the instance, right? But you can actually choose yes and like choose the type of database that you need.
For example, I have a hosting with databases and I'm using one MySQL database. You need to change the configure. So in this case, if you go to the code, in the configure file, instead to create a database with SQLite, here you're going to configure the database. You're going to get here the URL of the database, the port, and after that, once the wizard asks you about it, you will say that it's there. So I tried that with my SQL. I didn't try with Postgres or another database, but it worked perfectly. I have the service running in the Vapor Cloud, another thing in my hosting, and it was nice.
So
it was very cool.
We can actually see it's deployed, right? So again, we can go to Postman and actually just, oh yeah, we changed the URL. So
yeah.
we can actually just start and actually say, let's see if it works with people. Not found. Did I?
Do you have the URL correctly?
Oh, it's a post. Sorry. No, we only get
change to get.
No, change the body.
Oh, you're going to send people.
Yeah, so we are starting to actually use this live, right, in production. So we actually have something to try and use this. It's like one more thing. We will now like you to actually add your names in in this URL and send a post there with your full name, or at least the first and last one.
Or something that we can identify yours after this.
Like do a post. Or if you can't, we can just start and...
Or you can ask to a colleague that is also you. The thing is, we need to put all your names inside of here, please. So...
Yeah, you say yes, because you actually want for it to be hosted on VaporCloud, right? And with the slug that you already... Oh, yeah,
of course.
Sure. So you'll actually do something like this. João, sorry, you can also share it. So the link is there.
Where are they?
João has a curl that you can actually, if you don't have Postman, you can actually use that to actually post your name to the database. Okay, just do one single post.
Yes,
we don't have entity validation or a delete. Oh, it's here.
Okay.
And we want you to.
Yes, it's just name, 2 points, and your name with keys or with the yeah, like this.
Like this, yeah.
Don't forget the header, please.
So we actually talked with the guys at Vapor because they are really available, and everyone likes merchandise, so we actually send us 10 t-shirts paper that you can use. Actually, get it, but why not give it some to you?
Let's use
So-
the random people.
Yeah, and since we've created an API today and we have the random pair, let's just use it to raffle and just add your names, and we'll actually use the random to give out the shirt because we don't have for all here. So who needs to actually for us to do the post? Does everyone has their name on the database?
So we have
Once-
here Pedro Barbosa, André Martínez, we have Carlos Ricardo Santos, we have Bruno Coelho, Ana Filipa, Raquel Suárez, David Beleza, Pedro Meira, Tiago García, we have Tiago Veloso,
Anyone-
Patracas, we have Joao Campos, Enes myself, with name. We have here to Bárbara Correira, we have Raquel Suárez, Maria Rodríguez.
So anyone needs for us to do the post?
Hey, André Martínez, we have a hater here, so okay.
Andre, you'll be disqualified.
So the point is, all the names I said on the table because we are going to do the random. Come on. So
We told you we don't have a delete. We can actually. Oh no, we can because if we
can't do a
deploy
delete
again,
because if we do a delete, the ID will be
Yeah.
outside. So
that's.
no, but the
we
good
still
point is,
have-
if Andre wins, you need to. Someone can ask
we should actually cut your T-shirt into 4 separate pieces.
So we have here all the names. Are you ready?
Yeah,
Go on.
Warren, do you have your name? Do you want your name in the raffle? So actually, we can.
You
use
can do it. You can do it.
So person, Warren. Oh, not here, obviously. Body, Warren, right?
There?
Yeah.
Is there.
Great.
So the first random. Are you ready?
Great.
Really?
It would be nice for you to actually.
I will throw it the t-shirt. Come on, don't worry.
Oh, wait.
Not now.
Okay, first one, Fabio Fonseca. So next one, Carlos.
Why is this open?
No, leave. Oh, that was the first one. I don't know.
Okay.
Sorry. I think it's the only one that it's open.
If you want, we can bring you one with plastic.
So yeah, Carlos Ricardo Santos.
Carlos?
So next one, it will be Pedro Barbosa.
Pedro Barbosa. What is?
Yeah, it's so next, André Martingo. We will talk again later. Raquel Soares.
Raquel.
Who's Patracas?
Over there. This is like the Homer Simpson chapter.
André Martin, you're disqualified. David.
David Beleza.
Bruno Coelho. Right next to him. Ana Filipa. And the last one, if it's André Martinho, we will have problems. Miguel Fusano. Right. So congratulations. It's actually a nice surprise from Vapor.
Have stickers too. We are not going to.
Yes, Steve. Also nice.
Not saying.
Yeah, so next up, one more thing too, yeah. So we actually talked with, because we actually use a lot of the book. So we actually talked with Ray Wenderly, and they will give you a license for the book. So we will also raffle. I think this shall be excluded, but we will also raffle the book of Ray Wenderly. Okay? Great. It's another surprise. So yeah, this one is the final.